Howdy partners, I'm coming to you here from Seattle with another guide. I'm really excited to be bringing to y'all on 7 things you need to know before going to visit Seattle. As you can see, I actually forgot my camera holder at home, so we're going to be doing this one the old-fashioned way with the hand. Over here at the edge of the Pike Place Market, you can kind of see the entrance right over there, and I'm really excited to be bringing you this video. We're going to see how it goes. I think that I might move to a little bit of a quieter area because there's some construction going on behind us here. So okay, I'm not doing a great job of getting away from the construction, so sorry if you still hear some of those sounds going on. But while I'm still outside, I did want to mention the first thing you need to know is about the environment, putting it that way, that you'll be dealing with here in Seattle. It's definitely going to be rainy a lot. You can see I'm actually wearing a rain jacket right now. It might not even look like it. It does look like we're going to get some rain today, but even a couple days ago, it was totally sunny outside, and then we just all of a sudden got some random kind of sleet. So definitely be prepared and ready for that. It's a very rainy area of the United States, so be ready for that whenever you're here to get a little precipitation, right? The other thing is that it is not by any means a very level city, right? You're going to be dealing with elevation change up and down just all the time. So do please keep the heels at home, right? Keep the brand new shoes at home. Bring some worn in tennis shoes or boots, right? Something like that, because you're going to be going up and down so many stairs while you're here, right? And so many hills and so many elevation changes. So do be ready for that whenever you're going to come and visit Seattle. And so I think we're going to move to another different area, guys. So bear with me. Okay, guys. So I'm down here on the 3rd floor of the Pike Place Public Market, and I'm going to be a little quiet, hopefully not bother anybody too much, but it's the number 2 thing you need to know is about the Pike Place Public Market while you're here in Seattle. So it was established 108 years ago, right? And it's been in continuous operation since that point. There are hundreds of shops here. I definitely recommend it being one of your stops that you make whenever you're coming over to Seattle. While you're in here, you can be sure that you can check out the shops. There's the guys that throw around the fish. Fantastic food, lots of souvenirs and things you can pick up if you're bringing some stuff back to the family. Definitely go downstairs as well and check out the gum wall. There was one point where the gum was scraped, but it was such a big deal they ended up putting the gum back right over time, so that's pretty cool, and you can check out that. Definitely a highly photographed area, right? That's right here in the Pike's Place Public Market. So check out some food as well while you're here, and we'll definitely talk about a few places that you need to try when you're here in Seattle, some of which are in the Pike's Place Public Market. But it's somewhere where you can definitely spend a few hours. Again, be sure that you're ready to walk around when you're here in the public market as well. Okay, and that leads us to the 3rd thing that you need to know before you come over here to Seattle is about Starbucks. You can't come to Seattle and not talk about Starbucks. I know I'm a little bit biased because I was a barista there at one point in my life just a few years back, but you need to go and see the original Starbucks. It's not going to blow you away by any means. It's a little bit small, but it's definitely one of those ones that's really cool to say that you've been to. I know that we all pretty much drink Starbucks at least once in our life, so it's an interesting and, Seattle favorite to come and see. But I do want you to not miss, right? And I was disappointed that I hadn't been before this trip to Seattle and any of the previous ones, is the Starbucks Reserve. It's more than I can describe in just this one video for you, and honestly I wish I got even more footage of it to show you and so you could see kind of what I'm talking about, but it is the most crazy coffee experience that you can possibly go to. I've gone every single day that I've been here on this trip. Once I went once, I had to go back and keep on trying all the different coffee concoctions that you can get there. They're obviously operating off the Clover, but they have a pizza section where they do flats, and they have, just coffee flights, and coffee concoctions and coffee mixology, and it's just a really, really cool experience that I wouldn't want anyone to miss if you're just coming here thinking you're going to see the original Starbucks, which, while it's cool, is still just kind of a little hole in the wall over here in the Pike's Place Market. You take about not even 1 mile up the road and you're gonna see that Starbucks Reserve, and it's really gonna blow your mind, and you're gonna be extra happy that you did. I promise you, check it out. And so now that we've gotten through the obligatory Pike's Place and the Starbucks here in Seattle and making sure that you check all of that out, let's talk about the things that you need to eat and drink while you're here in Seattle. There are going to be a bunch of places, even in the Pike's Place public market, things like the Pink Door, which just has fantastic Italian food, and you can't miss Beechers with their cheese, and you can even see them actually making cheese inside of Beechers. But going a little bit away from that, you can definitely check out Bar. Any Vietnamese food here is going to be fantastic, along with the pho, and making sure that you're not missing that. Any fish that you want to get is going to be 10 times better, than unless you're living in a fishing town. Basically, this is definitely a place. Don't miss that either. Drinks, it's a craft brewery scene here in Seattle, so make sure that you're taking some time to check out that as well. You definitely won't regret it. Don't just stick with the normal things that you're having that you get at your, local big chain Anheuser-Busch types, right? Craft brews here are a big deal. And if you're talking about coffee and going away from Starbucks, there's a bunch of places here as well. Local coffee scene is fantastic. There's local roasteries as well that you can check out and be really, really happy with as well. And so we actually just got shuffled off by somebody soliciting me for some money. And so before we get into the top things to do, I think that the number 5 thing I'd want you to know is that there is a little bit of a homeless population here, and it can be a little bit of a problem if you're not expecting it. I would say when you go out, it's pretty close to 100% chance that someone is going to ask you for money, right, and solicit you in that way. Rarely, but sometimes the people, they can be aggressive with you. So when you're here with your family, just make sure that you're ready for that and kind of how you'd respond in that situation as well. But definitely the number 6 thing then that I'd want you to know is about all the things that you can do here in Seattle. I definitely am not going to give you an all-encompassing list by any means, but there is a ton of stuff to do to entertain yourself on your trip to Seattle, and also any future trips that you might take. I don't think you'll ever really run out of things to do. Some of my favorite stuff is, of course, the tower that you can go to, and you can get some spectacular views there. If you're going to do that, I would recommend getting one of the package deals. It's a little bit pricey if you're just getting it on its own, but you can go to the Glassblowing Museum, which is absolutely phenomenal, and I checked out for the first time on this trip, and you can see some of the great viewing that it is, and it's really unique. I'm someone who likes art, and I've never seen quite anything like it. I think it's the Kahuli Glassblowing Museum, so check that out while you're here. Seattle Art Museum is worth seeing. There's the Seattle Aquarium, which I went to last time, and is definitely phenomenal with the Puget Sound and all of the very specific wildlife that you have here, and some stuff that you might not have seen before. Behind me on this side, you can actually see the Great Wheel. You can check that out if you want to get a different kind of view of the city. Something worthwhile that I hadn't considered before but did this time was taking a water taxi. I just took one over to West Seattle, but you can also take it to the adjacent islands as well. It gives you a great, fantastic view of the Seattle skyline, and I would definitely highly recommend that. Something that's been recommended to me is doing one of the underground tours. Apparently there's a bunch of underground canals here, and that you can go into, especially if it's a rainy day. That might be something that you consider doing as well. There's just a plethora of things you can do here in Seattle. These are just really a few of my favorite things that I've done or I'm looking forward to doing as well. This is obviously in addition to eating and drinking and getting your fill of really tasty food and great atmosphere, right? The other thing I'd mention is the weather. While it can be rainy, it is never too hot. And being from a place like Texas, which is just scalding most of the time, that's something that you can definitely take advantage of. You can walk around. I know that I'm averaging like 10 miles a day walking, so you can get around here in a really powerful way and check out all these attractions and have a great time. And so that actually takes us really nicely into the number 7 thing that I can recommend to you here in Seattle. I know I just went through a little bit of the things to do, but I think this one kind of can stand alone in its own way, that Seattle is a sports town. I don't know if you've realized before, but While you're here, if you have the opportunity to go check out CenturyLink, right, and watch either a Sounders game or a Seahawks game, right, or even a Dragons game if you're into the XFL, or go check out T-Mobile Park and the Marlins. There's college sports here. The Washington Huskies are absolutely huge, but definitely around CenturyLink, if you get a chance to check it out, I definitely did this time. And even though it's less crowded than normal because of the coronavirus scare that's going on right now, it was absolute blast and a really, really cool stadium to see from an architectural standpoint as well. I definitely recommend getting there early as you possibly can, because it's not quite tailgating, but there's a bunch of places that set up outside of the stadium, and you can get food and you can hang out with the supporters, right, and talk some shop about either your favorite team, you know what I mean, or what the Seattle team kind of means to them. And it's a super worthwhile experience that if you get a chance, right, if there is something going on while you're here in Seattle, I would recommend not missing. And so to kind of close, guys, I know I said 7 things, but you're going to get a little bit of bonus material, right? Seattle is a really exciting city. I've now come back multiple times just because it feels like that I never run out of things to do. I'm definitely planning on taking some trips out to the mountain. You can go to Mount Olympic and Mount Rainier as well and take those kind of day trips. I want to go see the island adjacent, you know, and check out things out of like the general downtown Seattle area. But I mean, in the several trips I've been here, that's all I've actually even managed to do. So there's a ton of stuff. I don't think that you'll ever get possibly bored here because there's such a litany of things. I've really enjoyed kind of hiking through the nature as well, which I think is worth a big mention. I mean, while you're having these fantastic temperatures, it's really easy to take advantage of going out there, right, into the nature, you know, doing a little hike. The foliage, you know, flora and fauna is really exciting. You know, everything in the Cascades is going to be great in that kind of way. So take advantage of that, guys. If you're liking what you're seeing, I know this was a really exciting guide for me to bring you. Definitely hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to be bringing out more content, obviously, every single time that I go to a place that I think is exciting or think of something that I'd want to share with you, right? And make sure that we're keeping you up to date on all the best guides, you know, from a tourist for a tourist. So hit that subscribe button, right? Give the video a like if you'd like to, and I really hope that we'll see you in the next video. Come visit Seattle.